Edmonton Oilers clinch mistake 2. Let's do this again, baby. There are 3 playoff spots left in the Western Conference. And tonight, both the Edmonton Oilers and St. Louis Blues could actually punch their tickets to the dance. The Oilers, they're back on home ice after a 4-game Western road trip. They play host to a new rival, if you do so ask me. Oilers, Blues, Blues, Oilers. Let's do that hockey, as my pal Bag Milk would say. But hello, what up, and welcome to Pregaming with Bordzy, brought to you by Sherwood Ford, the Giant, and is a presentation of Bet365, because whatever the moment, you know it, it's never ordinary at Bet365. There's a breath of fresh air right now. There's some new vibes in the air right now. Once again, maybe the return of number 97 in this hockey game. We will find out together. That is why you pregame with Bordzy. But let's get caught up in the chat. Chris Knobloch, he was in bright and early. He says, you can take away as many players as you want. Jeff Skinner will still be on the third line. Parentheses, nice try. Austin's in. Salute. Says, Bordzy, fire up the fucking band, baby. My ON fam. Get the likes up in here tonight. Chill the beers. And let's get this party started. God said, I give you my firstborn son, CM. I don't know, but do whatever Rain Dance's voodoo action you got to do to get 97 in the lineup tonight. Not Owie says Miv David's back. Pray. You can tell he was excited to type that one out. Dylan, let's go Oilers. Come here. Jeff Skinner's in. Says can't stay for pre-gaming. Just popping in. Yep, says popping.
I completely missed. I thought that said something else.
I thought it said pooping in.
Yes, exactly what I thought.
I'm pooping 3 tonight in spite of my coach.
Going to have a 3-hour toilet session. Can't watch the game.
The old Paul Pierce. You need the wheelchair to get you off of the court. He also, on the end of their page, and said, cut you. Calvin Pickard's in. Says Connor's back. Sasky Girl Oil fan just rolled home. No energy for supper. First I drink and pregame. Fire me up, Bordzy. Bob Stauffer, this one made me giggle, said, picturing Davo leaving his hyperbaric chamber like Han Solo in Return of the Jedi. Excellent reference. Bella says, please save us, McJesus. Davin, I'm guessing the ticket sales must have tanked, and that's the only reason he's playing tonight. If you tuned in to Oilers Nation every day earlier today, Jay Downton, our fearless leader, said, no Connor, no Leon, $42.2 million in cap space up in the press box, 822 puck drop. Guys, I don't want to go to the game. He offered up his tickets, and one lucky winner, I think his name was Byron in the ONE chat, going to the game tonight. How fired up do you think he is right now on the precipice of 97's return?
Yeah, that could be a big game changer, because when you look at this lineup, minus the whole slew of guys who aren't going to be playing, which at the time when we were, earlier in the day when we thought this was the lineup, that's no Connor McDavid, no Leon Draisaitl, no Ryan Nugent-Hopkins added to the pile. We're looking at an Oilers team that looks as bad, or at least the forward group. The forward group specifically with Kasperi Kapanen as the 2C, or Noah Philp as the 2C, whoever it is.
Or Matthias Janmark.
Yeah, or Matthias Janmark is the 2. Who cares? Any of them is the 2C. This is as bad as anything we've seen since what, like 2009, 10?
Yeah, it's just makes you appreciate the little things, right? As I mentioned, the number today, $42.2 million was expected to be up in the press box this evening. As the Oilers, they just simply limp their way into the NHL playoffs. But Coomzy, it's Wednesday night, 8:22 local time puck drop in Edmonton, in Rogers Place. That should be illegal to me as long as it's being played in Edmonton. I believe it's got to be because it's a national game, TNT in the States. Either way, I don't care. It's game 78 of the season. We will always bring the energy. I just hope the Edmonton Oilers do as well. But Coomzy, I can't help but just feel here. It's game 78, and we're guys that have to do the pre- and post-game show. I am so just at, get me 2 points in a Calgary loss, get me clinchmas, and then can you just put me in a hyperbaric chamber and let me sleep for 4 to 5 days, and let's get the NHL playoffs going here.
It's definitely a very different vibe than the ones we've had in previous years. The Oilers have had some nice runs into the playoffs in previous season. Think last year with a huge extended winning streak, the challenge for the longest one of all time. And then the season before that, after the trade deadline, the Oilers went on a huge run. This year's been completely different than those seasons, which pretty much since January, really, the team hasn't felt fully right in terms of injury, illness, whatever has been going on. It's been, well, I mean, even when you put it into Evander Kane not being with the team for the whole season, there really hasn't been a point this year where the Oilers have been fully healthy, and that's especially been the case since the calendar turned to 2025. So all we're really looking at right now, no one's thinking about the Pacific Division or second place and like being ahead of the Kings in the standings, home ice advantage. Everyone's just worried about getting healthy at this point.
Just stay alive.
Yeah.
Just stay alive. Key to victory? No. Key to survival is what I'm giving you tonight. Also, got a super chat in here as well. Reminder, all your super chats are in support of the Ben Stelter Foundation, a cause that does awesome things for families dealing with other family members dealing with cancer. Bosch is in. Frowny face for $6.99 says, McD, fire it up. Himes, go to the net. Boosh, use the brain. Nothing through the slot. Boosh gets 2 pieces of advice in their pods. Put it in. Nice. And then he says, put it in H. I don't even know what that is. All I know is what it says at the end. Cup yeah. Cup yeah. Thank you very much. Paid. And so before we got the news about 97 earlier today, I'm sitting there going, boy, oh boy, stay up for this one. You got to really enjoy the Edmonton Oilers, right? We put on the whiteboard upstairs today, the Bakersfield Oilers taking on the St. Louis Blues, but it's not even the Bakersfield Oilers, and I don't even know if Bakersfield can really fill a full roster right now. Everything in this organization is dealing with injuries. And then I woke up this morning, thought I was being pranked when I saw that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was added to the injury report. I went, no, this can't be real. I must still be dreaming. He's out tonight dealing with an illness. This will be the second game Nuge has missed all season. The other one was actually due to an illness as well. I saw Bag Milk was tweeting that he was going to hand deliver RNH some soup. That's what we know we get from our boy Bag Milk, so hopefully RNH does feel a little bit better. He's a part of a long list on that injured reserve, on that out list injury report for the Edmonton Oilers. Somehow you thought it was going from bad to worse, and then we get the news about 97 just a little bit ago. Pat, can you pull up the tweet here from Chris Johnston? Because I got to temper expectations. We do not know for sure if he's going to be playing in this hockey game, but as Chris Johnston reports, big news. Yeah, that's an understatement. Developing in Edmonton, hearing that Connor McDavid will return to the Oilers lineup tonight against St. Louis. McDavid has been sidelined with injury since March 20th. So if you go on Twitter, I mean, there's what you kind of get from this. He's going to take pregame skate. He's going to take the pregame warmups, and then we will see from there. Obviously, if he doesn't go, the Oilers expected to go 11-6 yet again. Whoops. Pause there. There's another tweet 11 here because the wording. Hey, no, I'm not going to make the joke I'm about to make. It's kind of a big change from earlier today because Knobloch has been playing with his words all season long. But earlier today, he said regarding 97 and 29, it could be day to day, up to a week. Well, fast forward like 5 hours later, and now we're hearing he's going to be taking pregame warm-up, will be in the skate as well. Obviously, Coomzy, the biggest understatement ever, would be a huge boost for the Edmonton Oilers as we just looked at this bare-bones skeleton crew without 97, 29, and 93. What I get from 97 if he wants to play, because we've all seemed to be pretty consistent here in that health is the priority. I was told hours ago he was still day-to-day, up to a week. But if 97's gearing up to go in this game, my initial reaction is that the Oilers are not comfortable with where they are currently in the standings. I've just been ignoring the possibility of the Oilers missing the NHL playoffs in general. I don't think it will happen. Knock on wood. It is a possibility. It's become more real than I would like to admit. 97 returning tells me the Oilers might also be thinking that same way.
Yeah, I'm not going to go and I think it'd be a hyperbole to say this is a desperation move by the Oilers. I think part of this has to do with Connor McDavid himself feeling like he's good to go or feeling like he's wants to.
He's looked good in practice.
Yeah, it's probably there's a good chance this is him behind the decision. I'm feeling good. I want to go out there and see. If you're Connor McDavid, the last thing you want is to have your game where you're finally coming back to the lineup be game one of the playoffs against the Kings in LA. So he wants to have some runway before getting going in the playoffs. Well, we can all sit here and say, oh yeah, it's best for the Oilers to get healthy and this is how they should do it. I mean, the players and the team, the doctors, they all know best. I mean, we all have to just kind of sit here and hope that they're not rushing him back, because if the Oilers are rushing Connor McDavid back for if they're rushing Connor McDavid back for this game against the St. Louis Blues to help guarantee themselves a playoff spot when they're 6 points up on the Flames with 6 games left, then it's probably not really that necessary, but I'd guess that he's fine. I don't think he's being rushed.
If 97 looks me in the eyes and tells me that he wants to go tonight, who am I to tell him that he's not playing? Here you get a tweet from Tom Gazzola. He says, sounds like 97 has to convince a few people first. But if it was up to him, he would be in tonight. Chris Knobloch in the chat says the same as me. I'm not going to tell McDavid that he cannot play. Davin, they probably just want to test it, to be honest, and see how he feels after a game. I've mentioned it. He's been practicing with the team consistently for a bit now. Any of the video you've seen from practice, 97's going up and down the ice. And you have to think a guy like him, a competitor, he's chomping at the bit. He's foaming at the mouth. He's, once again, the Doug kind of puts it here. Davo walked in and saw the lineup on the board and told Nobby that he had to be in.
He's Mick back.
He's so McBack. Levi says injury timelines don't mean shit with Nobby. Yeah, I could probably subscribe to that theory as well. Said depth charts with Nobby are just a recommendation, and injury reports are just because he has to give them out.
You got to say something.
Well, once again, hopefully we'll keep it locked here. Keep it locked on Pregame with Bordzy. We'll let you know the second that we know, the second that it becomes public, and see if 97 is able to convince a couple people that he can play in this hockey game. If he doesn't go in this game, the Oilers will once again be going with 11 forwards and 6 defensemen. So the last game they did it as well on Monday, but they had to wait and play one game undermanned by one roster player to make an emergency call-up. That emergency call-up was Noah Philp. He's expected to be in the lineup as well. But if 97 doesn't go, there's nobody else that the Oilers can call up. There's no other emergency recalls they can do as they are up against it salary cap-wise. And then, who knows? So we've taken a look at a couple things of what the lineup could like without 97. It's not even really worth speculating for us right now, as we will find out in about 15 to 20 minutes. But Coomzy, game 78 of the season, having to play down a roster player yet again for the Edmonton Oilers if 97 cannot go. That's not a roster that excites me very much. I was trying to find things to put in Bordzy's bankroll before I knew about 97. I went, shit, brother. It is slim pickings out there for the Edmonton Oilers. Thoughts on their roster alignment without 93, without 97, without 29. We go from having some of the best center depth in the NHL to that.
This looks like the kind of lineup where you just run the next 3 guys. And it doesn't matter what the lines are, who's playing what position. You just have the 3 guys that are up next on the bench, and, somebody wants to have a shift skipped, and they go to the back, and then somebody else goes in front of them. Like, that's what this forward group looks like. Like, I don't think I'm being, people can correct me if they think of a mid-2010s lineup forward-wise, it looked worse, but this to me looks like 2009-10. Like tanking for Taylor Hall, bad forward group.
Those were the days. Those were the days, dude. And you look at Kasperi Kapanen, was slotted to be in that 2C spot. If 97 doesn't go, the choices are between him and Matthias Janmark. So there you go. Might be surprised when you see Bordzy's bankroll later on tonight. Keep in mind, I made it before I knew the news about 97. And I had actually already placed the bets on Bet365. So there's no turning back now for what I've got in Bordzy's bankroll. But when you do look at that, the normal names, Kasperi Kapanen up in that 2C slot. He's been good lately. He's been noticeable lately, I will say, with the puck. He's been incredibly shifty, fast, keeps executing a spin move and being able to pull it off. But the one thing that he's lacked, much like Matthias Janmark, is some finish so far this season. Nobby had a quote earlier today talking about the players, stepping up in new roles and what you're asking them to do without 97-29. He said, quote, "It's very challenging, but a lot of credit to the guys. I think they've been playing extremely hard. I think what we're missing is just the execution on finishing plays. We certainly have had enough scoring chances to have more than 2 goals against Anaheim, but a lot of credit for the guys that have been playing hard in the right way. If 97 isn't able to go, Kasperi Kapanen moves up into that top 6. And Coomzy, that is a spot. Surprisingly, he's been up and down since he's joined the Oilers. When he joined the Oilers, also revenge game against the St. Louis Blues tonight. Remember that aspect as well. But when he came back when he joined the Oilers off the Blues, he was in the top 6 for like 2 weeks straight. He was producing. So when you've put him with skill, he has found a way to do it. He has multiple 20-goal seasons to his name. If 97 doesn't go, obviously I think Rico is going to be getting the double shifts, the triple shifts, playing with the 4th line. But Kasperi Kapanen could be leaned on. We thought he was a winger, never thought he was a centerman. Now we could be playing 2C tonight.
It's quite
Life comes at you fast.
It's quite the jump up the lineup for Kasperi Kapanen. I mean, I really genuinely couldn't imagine saying, what was it, back in November they claimed him on waivers, and you say, hey, in April when the Oilers are playing St. Louis, Kasperi Kapanen's going to be the 2C on the Oilers against the Blues. You'd be, what has gone wrong in this season? What happened? And I mean, here we are. Like, this is Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins are injured / sick, and this is where we are. We got to get weird. There's only so many things you can do. It's got to be a winger playing down the middle. I actually thought Zach Hyman might be the one that got moved down the middle, because during his NCAA career playing with Michigan, he was a center. And then the same thing when he was coming up with the Toronto Marlies. And in 2018-19 with the Leafs, when Austin Matthews was injured, Hyman played a lot of center that year and took, I think, 230 faceoffs it is. So he has a decent amount of experience playing center. So that's who I thought it might have been. But Kasperi Kapanen is the 2C. Why not?
Kasperi Kapanen, this is your moment. Lobbing it up for you. D-Wade the Bronze. See what you can do with it. The other guy you mentioned getting weird with it, and it's not totally, because it's out of necessity. It's out of emergency, actually. Noah Philp, he's being called back up for the Edmonton Oilers. He'll make his 13th appearance this season. So far in those games, he's averaged 8 minutes and 40 seconds of ice time, has 2 assists. He's also been a net positive at 5v5, outscoring the opposition 5-4. Obviously, I'm expecting him to get single digits in minutes once again, but he has surprised in moments. And there is a realm. Shout out Zach Lang, Oilersnation.com. He had an article the other day mentioning how next year Noah Philp becomes waiver eligible in the NHL, and that the Edmonton Oilers, who knows, could be another Raph Lavoie situation where we need to send him down, and who knows what happens, but that this could be a little tryout here for the rest of the regular season, obviously for the playoffs, to be a up in the press box kind of guy if Bakersfield doesn't do what they need to do. Thoughts, expectations for Noah Philp in this one? We know what the type of player he is. Can surprise a little bit. Always shocks me that he isn't Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' younger brother. Guess we don't have Nuge in the lineup. We got Nuge. We got baby Nuge in the lineup here as well. But Noah Philp back up with the Oil, 13th appearance this season.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him kind of get a longer run as the fourth line center in Edmonton, because it does feel like that is the team's plan next season. As you said, he's going to be waiver eligible next year. Like how they lost Raph Lavoie this year, it's hard to imagine that Noah Philp would get through waivers unclaimed. It's a lot of players that go through before the season at the same time. There's a lot of guys like this, but I mean, you look at his numbers in the AHL 2022-23, first full professional season, 19 goals, 37 points this year in 52 games, 15 goals, 30 points. Player who plays center, good defensively, some offense, big body as well. There's obviously a lot of upside there. So it would be nice to see the Oilers give him a nice little run here in the final few games of the season, given all the injuries.
Hey, this is your moment. Win a couple draws for me as well. That's the one thing I think the Oilers could use. We've tried everything in that 4C role. It's been Kapanen. It's been Janmark. Now, let's get a little Noah Philp action. But once again, if 97 doesn't go, which we do not know yet, the Oilers will be going with 11 forwards. And if 97 doesn't go, $42.2 million will be up in the press box this evening for the Oilers. So, of course, they would be playing the red-hot team in the NHL, the St. Louis Blues, who are winners 12 of their last 13. They had won 12 hockey games in a row before losing Monday 3-1 to the Winnipeg Jets. They are now comfortably in a playoff spot. Pat, do we have the standings here as well from the start of the evening? Obviously, this one later start for the Edmonton Oilers, but I don't got to tell you that one. There you see, they've got 93 points, the exact same as the Edmonton Oilers, and they, with a win tonight, the St. Louis Blues. So it's the same for them. If they beat the Oilers and the Flames lose in regulation to the Ducks, they clinch. Same goes for the Oilers. If they beat the Blues and the Calgary Flames lose in regulation to the Ducks, then we get next to our name as well. But this Blues team, been a tale of two halves for them, because out of the Four Nations break, they have been a completely different squad, dude. I believe there's something like 18-3-2. I have it here in my need to know information. We need to get there, but red hot. Jim Montgomery completely changed the makeup of this team, 9-1 in their last 10 games. And when you look at their squad, yes, they have Dylan Holwyn, they have Philip Broberg. One of them will not be playing in this game. More on that in just a second. But they've got young talent. They've got proven guys. I think Robert Thomas is one of the more underrated players in the NHL. And then they got that dude on your screen right there, Jordan Binnington. I don't need to tell you about him. Some weird way about him, he's always able to show up in the biggest moments. Former Stanley Cup winner before. But This Blues team is red hot right now. They're a squad that a lot of people online, talking heads saying that's not the team that you want to play. That's not the one you want to get for your first round of the NHL playoffs. If it started today, the Vegas Golden Knights would get the St. Louis Blues. Could that be on upset territory?
It could potentially be. I mean, the St. Louis Blues they've been the best team in the league since the Four Nations. And a big part of that is who we just had on the screen there, Jordan Binnington, who of course won gold for Team Canada since winning that championship game against the US, where he was so good for Canada. Think about all those big saves he made in overtime. Since then, the league restarted. Binnington's gone 12-2-0 with a .917 save percentage for the Blues. Has been one of the better goalies in the NHL. And of course, with all the scoring they've been getting and everything else that's been going on, they're firing on all cylinders. And it's an interesting thing to think about. I mean, we're getting way too far ahead of ourselves thinking about this, because the Oilers still have to beat the LA Kings in the first round. They're going to be the road team in that series, and they're decimated by injuries right now. But the Oilers could wind up playing the St. Louis Blues in the second round of the playoffs. If they wind up in the Pacific Division part of the bracket, they'd be playing Vegas in the first round, and that would potentially lead to an Edmonton St. Louis second round, which, could you imagine telling somebody that in August?
The storylines write themselves, dude. This would be, buckle up for that one. That would be insane. Obviously, big one tonight against the Blues, but there's one missing aspect for the St. Louis Blues tonight in their lineup, and that would be Dylan Holloway.
Who's that?
Exactly, right?
Never heard of him.
Never talked about him before. Not once this season have we ever brought this guy up.
Some new guy?
Oh, there's the other guy as well. The double graphic, the double kick in the dick when you look at those numbers. Dylan Holloway in 77 games, 26 goals, 37 assists. Could have seen that one coming if he was given the proper leash. Philip Broberg, he's got 29 points in 66 games, averaging just over 20 minutes of ice time per night. So Dylan Holloway, he's third in team scoring, 26 goals, right? And as I just said, like, we all knew that he was capable of doing this. Anyone who watched the NHL playoffs last season, anyone who's followed Dylan Holloway's career knew he was capable of this. And he's having a breakout regular season. And then unfortunately, most tragically, it feels like it got cut short here a couple games ago, out with a lower body injury, expected to be out all of the remainder of the regular season. Not even sure if he'll be ready for the start of the NHL playoffs as well. That is a tough blow for a team that, man, it pisses me off to look at those stats right there, because the Blues just lucked in because their GM said, you know what, why not? Why not send an offer sheet their way? But huge loss with Dylan Holloway right now. That was a hard injury to watch as well. You feel for the guy. Once again, I've said probably terrible things about Dylan Holloway this season privately. You never wish that upon anybody, but he's been a massive part of this Blues turnaround. And since Jim Montgomery's taken over, right, and how well this team has played, Dylan Holloway's basically been or close to a point per game player. That's a big loss for the St. Louis Blues.
Oh, for the St. Louis Blues. I wasn't sure who it was a big loss for specifically.
No, that's fair. It's for both.
You had to, you had to just make it clear, because it feels like a big loss for everyone involved. But both the players the Blues signed from the Oilers in the offseason, the RFAs, have had a big impact on the team, of course. And I think there's something to be said. It was agent Alan Walsh that was interviewed in an article in The Athletic, and he said that those offer sheets that were signed last summer and how amicable the whole situation was. There was no threatening to be, fighting in a barn. There was nobody cursing anybody else out on the radio. It was a normal transaction. Everybody was normal. It was fine.
Gentlemen.
Yeah, everyone just behaved as they should. In the NBA, they have restricted free agents and offer sheets, and these happen all the time, as they should in the NHL, but don't for some reason. And now the argument is by the agents is that they're hearing from general managers that there is going to be more of these as time goes along because of what happened in the summer. So an interesting thing, especially for the Oilers. Maybe they'll wind up being the team that makes the RFA offer stab this time around.
Sick.
Oh, there is another RFA on the Oilers this summer as well. I don't know if anybody knows who it is. There's one defenseman coming up, not a very major player or anything, but his name's Evan Bouchard.
Evan Bouchard. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I was like, yeah, wait, what? No. Yeah, I don't even want to begin to even think about that. I don't want the Edmonton Oilers to be the team. If you talk about the history of offer sheets in the NHL, you can't tell that story without the Edmonton Oilers. That would suck, brother. The other guy in those transactions is Philip Broberg, right? I'm curious, the last time the Blues were in Edmonton, do you remember him and always specifically Broberg was getting booed every single chance that he got to touch that puck. Now, I feel like before the 97 news, I feel like this is going to be one of the least attended games in Edmonton this season because, once again, middle of the week, bare bones lineup, 8:22 puck drop. You can see all those reasons. But if you remember in that last game as well in Edmonton, Philip Broberg had like an all-time bad return to Edmonton and Rogers Place. He had one most notably behind the net, turned the puck over, put it right on the stick of Connor McDavid in the dead slot, untouched. 97 right there, and you can guess what he did. He was able to score a goal with that one. Broberg has had an awesome season, once again playing just over 20 minutes per night. Always pains me because the Oilers, we've been down one handsome Swedish defenseman for quite some time now. Sure would have been nice to have a different Swedish handsome defenseman in there, but Philip Broberg, he's the enemy, but he's also having as good a season as I think we all would have predicted he would have had.
Yeah, he's he was the more interesting one of the two. I guess the more shocking contract of the two of them, I think, was the Broberg one with the amount of money that he got signed to. I think I mean, obviously you go back to the playoffs last year and it's crazy to think that it wasn't until a few games into the Western Conference final that he got inserted into the lineup and was such a game changer. When you think back to the playoffs and you think about Broberg, you almost think, oh yeah, of course he was playing the top four the whole time, but it was less than half of their playoff run. And the Blues, based on what they saw there, were comfortable offering him what they did. And that was the most shocking one. And I think that was, given the pressure of having that contract, I think Philip Broberg's had a very impressive season because for Dylan Holloway being that winger, the first round pick at 14th overall, given the money that he's getting paid, it seems, this is going to go well. This is going to be good value for the Blues. But with Broberg at $4.5 million annually and only a handful of games under his belt playing top 4 minutes, I mean, that was a big risk by the Blues, and it certainly worked out for them.
You got to take a risk. You got to risk it to get the biscuit, as the kids say. Also, another super chat from Bob Stauffer, $6.99, says, people forget that it was first time in NHL history that this happened. Regardless if they spoke, it was still Greece. Let's beat the Blues tonight. Never forget. We forgive, but we will never forget. Don't make a joke. Let's go now to the need-to-know information, courtesy of our friends from Wilhock Beef Jerky, because only the finest tasting meat products earn that sweet, sweet Wilhock name. Made from 100% pure Alberta beef, their jerky is aged, seasoned, smoked, and marinated to savory perfection. They gladly fill orders of any size, and you can find their jerky, sausage, other products exclusively out of their Leduc location. For more information and to get your jerky on, head to WilhockBeefJerky.com. So in the season series this year, the Oilers 2-0 over the St. Louis Blues. They won 4-2 back on December 7th, and then they won 3-2 with an overtime winner. Shout out Brett Holden. He's also very sick right now.
So yeah, how's he doing? I haven't heard since he was in the hospital.
No, he's better now.
He's still in the hospital? He's out of the hospital?
No, he's back at home now. He's
okay,
back at home now. I believe he has an infection of some sort. I don't know. Everybody gives tic taps and hearts and love to our boy Brett Holden. But the Oil also beat them 3-2 in overtime on the road on February 4th. So the Oilers, they're the only non-wildcard Western Conference team to not clinch their playoff spot yet for the 3 spots in the Central, 3 in the Pacific. Again, they beat the St. Louis Blues tonight, and the Anaheim Ducks beat the Flames in regulation. The Edmonton Oilers will have punched their ticket to the dance in the NHL playoffs. If 97, once again, we've gotten late news here that 97 is expected to take pregame skate. We are actually 30 minutes past the hour right now, so we should be hitting the ice right around this moment. If he's not ready to go, the Edmonton Oilers lineup, it is going to be bare bones. It is going to be the skeleton crew, and you're going to see why Bordzy decided to bet on, holy shit. Look at that. I've never seen that look like that on Daily Face-Off before. Shout out Patrick Buff, producing Ben.
Alec Regula in there, so funny.
Yeah, you just slip him in, number 75.
Like, yeah, just me and the guys.
Just me and all my fellow teammates, all of us, all of those players together, and I guess that excludes my number, Alec Regula. $42.2 million. All right there.
With Regula, it's $82.2 million.
He gets everything. He actually gets all of them. And then our pal Cal is expected, Calvin Pickard, to get the start in this hockey game. Didn't play Monday against the Ducks Calvin Pickard is 5-2-0 in his last 7 starts, and he's above 20 wins for the first time in his NHL career. On the other side of your need to know, the St. Louis Blues, they're red hot right now, brother. As I said, winners of 12 of their last 13 since the Four Nations, 18-3-2, and it was a franchise record 12-game winning streak. Remember our 16-game heater? Food just tastes better. Everything smells better.
Cool.
I sleep better. Drinks are colder. Everything was so good back then, and it feels miles away from that. But if 97 returns, I'm all the way back in. So they finally had their win streak snapped Monday. They lost 3-1 to the Winnipeg Jets. But despite that loss, they are comfortably in a playoff spot right now. They're 2 points up on Minnesota for the 1 wildcard spot, the first wildcard spot. And then they are 6 points up on the Calgary Flames, who currently sit in 9th in the Western Conference. The Blues, Oilers aren't the only team dealing with the injury bug, right? So Colton Parayko, he's been out with a knee injury since March 5th, I do believe. Alex Tessier, he's been out since March 27th. Torrey Krug all season long. Dylan Holloway, he's been out since April 3rd. And as I mentioned, they're not 100% certain he's going to be back and ready for game 1 of the NHL playoffs. Robert Thomas, he leads this team in points. He's got 76 points in 67 games played. Jordan Kyrou leads the team in goals with 33. Dylan Holloway is second on the team in goals with 26. And then finally, Jordan Binnington, he's expected to get the start in this one. 27-21-4 record. 269 goals against with a .902 save percentage on the season as a whole. Now, time for your Sherwood Ford Giant storyline brought to you by Sherwood Ford. The Giant, Mr. Yaremchuk, got the Nation truck, used the valet service today. I showed up to the office this morning. He was already live doing Daily Face-Off live. Shout out to Patrick Puff because he produces a bang-up job behind that one. And I see him upstairs and I go, dude, you're not here. Where's your truck? Where's your massive truck that's parked out front? And he goes, brother, getting an oil change right now because they went and picked it up. Also, shout out Eli. He went with the truck to go shoot content, and while it got all its service done and whatnot, and he said, yeah, I mean, you can only get so much B-roll of a car being
You just sat in the car the whole time.
And then he said, I just sat in the lobby and I just read a magazine. Drank some Sherbucks.
It's a lost art, man. Magazines in a lobby.
Right?
A lost art.
Right? I remember I used to read like Archie comics back in my dentist. Like that was the go-to I would always do. Shout out my orthodontist had Sports Illustrated. Shelling out the big bucks for something like that. Sherwood Ford, I'm sure they got great magazines there as well. They got great coffee. Sherbucks, as Liam always tells us. My storyline in this one, I guess it would just simply be Clinchmas beforehand. Now it's all about, holy shit, is 97 actually going to play in this hockey game? But through and through, we've been very committed here. And for me specifically, since they lost to the LA Kings, it's all about health, more so now than ever. But you can only say that once you actually get the X next to the Edmonton Oilers when you look at those Western Conference standings. You actually need to clinch your spot in the NHL playoffs. Then you can take your foot off the gas completely. Then you can start playing the Bakersfield Oilers. Do what you need to do tonight. It's not going to be easy against this red-hot St. Louis Blues team and a goaltender in Jordan Binnington. And then, as I said earlier, key to victory. No, I'm just key to survival. Just for the love of God, please, 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 nobody get hurt tonight. Knock on wood. Coomzy, you got a storyline or a key to victory?
Yeah, mine's the same thing. I mean, the clinching thing, I don't think the anxiety is there. There's too much. A lot would have to go wrong for the Oilers to miss the playoffs and get jumped by the Flames and have both St. Louis and I mean, I'm saying it out loud and it sounds disturbingly possible. It does. It's yeah. I mean, last year almost everything went right. You think about it with the winning streak and the run and everything, and then this year it would be kind of like Schadenfreude if there was this kind of thing. But I mean, really, it's just getting through this game and not having any injuries. You don't need Adam Henrique or Zach Hyman or Corey Perry or anybody else. Heaven forbid a D-man, a Darnell Nurse or somebody like that being added to the pile is the last thing we need. So everyone just knock on wood as hard as you can throughout the entirety of this game.
Don't let the universe know that you're afraid.
Yeah,
don't ever show weakness. Don't ever let that happen. Also see Dillagy's in. He says, if the Oilers win and the Flames lose, are the Flames out? The Flames need to lose in regulation. They need to lose in regulation tonight.
But they would still be able to jump over Minnesota or St. Louis. That would just mean they can't jump Edmonton. Edmonton's good in their Pacific Division spot, but the Flames would still technically be alive in regards to the Blues and the Wild.
And then here's good with Nathan. Key to victory. Refs, do your job tonight. Yeah. What do you think about Louis DeBrusk getting a little spicy on the broadcast on Monday night there? The refs completely lost control of that game. The players said, fuck it. We'll go handle it ourselves. They go to old-fashioned way. And Radko Gudas, he didn't really want to answer the bell out there, but shit kind of hit the fan. I mean, penalties are not the reason why the Oilers lost that game. They went 0-for-6 on the power play. But what'd you think about stuff getting a little bit crazy out there? Brett Kulak wanted blood at points in that hockey game. He was trying to feed some uppercuts. Post-game, he was saying Radko Gudas, paraphrasing here, kind of being a softie. That's the nice word that I'm going to use there for this one because he wouldn't answer the bell. But what do you think of that whole situation on Monday? That was a little spicy.
Yeah, the Ducks are suddenly becoming a pain in the ass again, which is really and it
Lucas Dostal is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that sucks. All of a sudden, the Ducks have a better goalie than John Gibson was, even when he was good, which that sucks. But the Ducks for years were so bad, and just the Oilers would just have, what was it, like 8 or 9, 10 games in a row or something they beat Anaheim. And now the Ducks have kind of made themselves a bit relevant again. I think from Edmonton's perspective, you'd like to see some fight in a game like that because there's been way too many instances this year of the Oilers just getting pushed around. And that's not really what we've seen from the team in the past few years. Their identity's sort of turned into more of a, I'm not going to say they're the toughest team in the league or they're a bruising team and that's what they do. But for the past few years, they were a team that they could go up with most other teams in the league and they weren't going to get bullied around. But this year is a completely different than those ones, and this is a team that by and large can get bullied around by a lot of different opponents. So nice to see the Oilers stand up a bit, even though nobody wants to be seeing guys get injured or suspended or anything happen right before the playoffs start, but you also don't want to see them get bowled over and just look like a bunch of sissies.
Yeah, right. It's about teetering that edge, especially at this point of the season, and like you love to see the response. It's very weird because in the moment nobody actually did anything because I couldn't really tell what happened either. Once again, I'm not on the ice. And if I see Corey Perry throws his glove in a stick, shoot first, ask questions later. You'll deal with that one after the fact. But Darnell Nurse in the TV timeout goes and grabs Radko Gudas, starts grabbing him by the neck, giving him a shake, starting to exchange some very, very mean words out there. Brett Kulak wanted blood. And it feels hypocritical of me to say this, but all season we've said, I want the Edmonton Oilers to respond. I want them to fight. Well, game 77 and 78 of the season, I don't think the Oilers can afford to lose any bodies in a fight right now. So to me, it's about teetering that edge, showing like you'll fight, getting the scrum, and then maybe not actually drop them because, as I said, the Oilers, I don't know if we're going to be able to fill an entire roster for the NHL playoffs. Yeah,
what happens if
with the way this is going, dude?
What happens in a game for the Oilers? They got a roster like this, and they're man down. You get in a bunch of fights, and you have a bunch of guys in the penalty box, and you can barely even fill up your roster at that point.
Corey Perry's got a double shift. No, he'd be in the box for sure. That's the first guy that's going to be in the box. So as I check here, we are 39 minutes past the hour. Once again, I do believe we expect puck drop to be at 8:22 p.m. I still got no news here about Connor McDavid. So, Pat, if you want to, we can pull up what we expected the lineup to look like without 97. And then, yeah, you start smiling as I say that because we got to take a peek at it once more. So there you see it. Could be Zachary Martin-Hyman with Adam Henrique and Corey Perry. Pods with Kapanen and RV. Skinner, Janmark, and Brownie. That's a trio that's actually been very good together now for a little consistent stretch of time. Maybe not the production you want, but the eye test has been there. The expected goals numbers. Shout out Zach Lang because he's been turning me on to that stuff. Max Jones, Noah Philp on your fourth line. Deep pairing staying the same as the last game, which was a flip. So it's Darnell Nurse first pair with Jake Woolman. Brett Kulak with Evan Bouchard, Troy Stetcher with Ty Emberson. So I'll let you in on a little secret. Before we had any 97 news today, I was sitting here going, okay, 822 puck drop against the Blues, bare bones roster. I'm going to need something to cheer for. Going to need something to believe in. And I initially saw that Matthias Janmark was slotted in to be on the second line in the top six. And at first I went, boo. And then the more I went, that could be a fun place to place my money this evening because as much as your eyes may tell you otherwise, Matthias Janmark has been around it offensively for like a week or two now. He's been getting the opportunities. He's been getting some chances. Just once again has stone hands and just cannot find a way to finish. Plus 1,400 for a Matthias Janmark anytime goal tonight. Pat, this applies to you as well. Am I talking crazy this one? Because I already wagered it. I already placed the bet on it.
Yeah, you're talking crazy because Matthias Janmark has been wearing a pair of jeans underneath his uniform the entirety of the season. He has 2 goals this season and a 4.1 shooting percentage.
Yes, and I believe one of those was an empty netter, and the other one
was a
went
bounced off his ass, didn't it?
One was off that, yeah. It's tonight's the night, people. That's what I said. You don't know how this game's going to end, but I said for 60 minutes, I'm going to believe and have a shot at Matthias Janmark. I sprinkled on that one responsibly. He's in the bankroll, and plus 1,400 just makes, if you play them all together, it's plus 7,000 tonight. I feel like I'm Jay Downton taking swings on the Oilers Nation everyday betting challenge. The other one, my thoughts and feelings. Now, if 97's in this lineup, throw everything about this out the window. But you saw it in the last game. Edmonton Oilers got a lot of their offense, a lot of their shots coming from the back end. The defense was all over it offensively. Jake Wallman, 5 shots. Evan Bouchard, 5 shots. Darnell Nurse, 5 shots. Brett Kulak, 3. Troy Stetcher, 3. Ty Emerson actually had 0. And he's the only Oilers defenseman to not hit 3. The Oilers forward group could be very thin tonight. That could be another area you might want to place some wagers on Bet365. Shot props from the back end. Darnell Nurse has been ripping it. Evan Bouchard had what? I think 5, 6, or 7 shots in the last game. No, I just said it there. 5. Nuge had 7. That's the one I was thinking of Monday night. But offense from the back end, you got a bare bones roster. You might be leaning on guys like Evan Bouchard, Darnell Nurse, and Wallman for some offense.
Yeah, when you're the Oilers and you don't have Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and then, of course, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, those are your main 3 forwards, really. In terms of puck possession, you're going to have to kind of rely on your blue line then to do a lot of the heavy lifting. But we might have a...
Connor McDavid is in the lineup tonight, according to our pal, Jack Michaels. Now, Mark Spector tweeted that he's taking warm-ups in Edmonton. Jack Michaels tweeted Connor McDavid is in the lineup tonight. I trust Jack more than anyone. And that's also the news that I wanted to hear. So that's what I'm going to choose to believe. Bob Stauffer said Edmonton Oilers McDavid is on the ice for pregame warm-up with a winking face emoji in there as well. So you can read into that one all you want there. Look, Jack Michaels, he's got eyes on 97 out there on the ice. Coomzy, thank the Lord. We made it. They said we'd never be here. Clap it up. Clap it up. Clap it up. Throw down your courtesy likes as well if you appreciate Connor McDavid back in. Also, I've yet to see Veronica Horsgrove in the
of
chat.
all the games not to be
of
here.
all the games, she has been in here. Oh my God.
Did she sacrifice herself?
That one's for you, Veronica.
She sacrificed herself to bring Connor back.
You know, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Sometimes you got to do a rain dance. Sometimes you got to do some voodoo. Veronica, I appreciate Southpaw. This is Veronica's night. Yep, for Veronica.
Got to get a round of applause for Veronica again.
Give it up for Veronica because she has believed more than anyone. She's been missing Connor McDavid. Also, did you guys know Connor McDavid is her favorite player?
That's what I've heard.
That's the rumors going around. So, people, there we got it. Finally, some good news on the injury front for the Edmonton Oilers. This completely changes everything that I should do in Bordzy's bankroll. We will see if Bet365 does some adjustments. But in the meantime, let's talk goaltenders. It's Pickard versus Binnington, and it's brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. People, it's motorcycle season. It's boating season. Also, when I drove to work today, there was a guy driving his motorcycle in front of me, and I went, hey,
hell yeah,
good for you, dude. It's about time to get that out there. You could tell he was a little nervous going down that big hill in the office. I said, hey, I'll give you plenty of room in front of you. But people, Power Sports and Marine, if you're looking for your outdoor toys, come on now, head on down. Summer is right around the corner. And if you want to get maybe your boat service before May long weekend, maybe you need to get your ATV, your dirt bike, whatever you need to get it serviced, take it down to Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. They're just awesome people as well. If you just want to talk puck and just browse cool boats in the showroom, that's the place to go do it as well. I have done it time after time. But tonight we're expecting Calvin Pickard versus one Jordan Binnington in the blue paint. Calvin Pickard, he's been awesome for the Oilers since becoming the number 1 goalie. There's a look at their numbers side by side. Twin 902 save percentages. Calvin Pickard, slightly better goals against average on the season. But one thing for Pickard, he was nominated for the Bill Masterton Memorial Trophy, which is awarded to the player who best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey. And to that I say, Good for you, dude. Calvin Pickard, you've been awesome this season. Everybody in the room loves this dude. He's been a journeyman through and through his career. Obviously, he's not panned out the way that many thought it would, or he probably would have hoped it would, but he has stuck with it. He's hit 20 wins for the first time in his NHL career. And once again, for $1 million, it's a pretty damn good bargain for a backup goaltender. Calvin Pickard, I hope you win the award. You've been awesome this season. I appreciate you. Good shit for him. Give it up for picks. Give it up for picks. Perseverance and sportsmanship.
I love perseverance and sportsmanship.
Who doesn't?
It's the best part of the game.
I used to get Heart and Hustle awards all the time.
Should we do a look? We're looking through some. I'm going to look through some names right now and see who do we think is going to come on top. Got Anaheim, John Gibson. Just going through quickly. Patrick Maroon from Chicago. That's the nomination there. Gabriel Landeskog from Colorado, who I believe hasn't played for in years.
1,000 days, I believe.
Patrick Kane for Detroit. An interesting one. Minnesota. Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
David Perron, Ottawa. That's a recognizable name. Marc-Edouard Vlasic for San Jose. He's still out there. He's still trying. Still playing his game.
I didn't even know that. Good
Alex Ovechkin for Washington. He could win.
You want me to totally dampen the mood right now?
What?
So, you get good news.
I know where this might be
going. You get bad news. No, you don't. No sign of Jake Woolman in warm-ups right now. Oilers defenseman Jake Woolman is listed as a scratch per the roster report, per Zachary Lang. So shout out to him as well. Always quick on the news. That's why you pregame with Bordzy, people, because you never know what's going to happen. You're going to get the information live as we find out as well. So that means Darnell Nurse with Evan Bouchard, I've got to assume. Also, Evan Bouchard had a tough game Monday night against the Anaheim Ducks. You could probably in some way, shape, or form call him responsible for maybe all 3 goals against, but then he goes out at the end of the game. He scored, well, I guess doesn't score the goal. It goes off Jeff Skinner. Then he rips one off the post at the end. Bouchard giveth, Bouchard taketh. But here, Jake Woolman not expected to be in the lineup. That's good for the tattoo bet. That is very good for me in the tattoo bet, but obviously not good.
Is there an illness running through the team now? Do they say it's an injury or is it the illness?
It doesn't say anything. It just says scratch here.
Lineup,
listed as scratch. I'm sure Zach will let us know as we go.
Maybe he's retiring.
Tony Brar.
He's like, I'm done. I'm over it.
He's like,
this playing for a competitive team thing down the stretch?
Not for me. Not for me. Vontae Davis of the NFL famous at halftime. He just said, fuck it. I'm done, boys. I retire.
It's too loud. It's too fast. It's too much.
I totally get it. Also, Tony Brar. I'll take this one as gospel. Connor McDavid is back in the lineup. Connor McBack is back in the lineup. So there we go. Good news and bad news coming at you every which way. We did mention as well, Jordan Binnington. He's getting the start. He started the season, 15, 19, and 4. Had an 897. Since the Four Nations break, he's 12-2-0, like you mentioned, with a 917 save percentage. And you got to feel that this guy is heating up at just the right time. Let's quickly take a peek here at the projected St. Louis Blues lineup this evening. Brought to you by Greta Bar, my favorite spot in the entire city. Arcade, bar, street food playoffs are just around the corner. Correct me if I'm wrong. The regular season ends in 7 days in San Jose on April 16th. We expect the playoffs should start on the Saturday, I believe. If, once again, this is all just speculation. I would assume the Oilers are going to start their playoffs on Saturday, which could be on the road, which might mean we'll be at Greta. Who knows? But come on, it's an awesome place to be. Awesome times are had, and can't wait to be back. Here you see it on your screen, the projected lineup for the St. Louis Blues. Top line, Pavel Buchnevich with Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou. Second line, Jake Neighbors with Braden Shen and Jimmy Snuggerud. Is that
good luck with this next one?
Dalibor Dvorsky with Oscar Sundqvist and Zach Balduke. Alexei Terepchenko with Radek Faksa and Nathan Walker. Philip Broberg with Justin Falk, Cam Fowler with Nick Leddy, Ryan Suter with Tyler Tucker. Coomzy, what do you know about Dalibor Dvorsky?
Dvorsky, like he had a divorce? I'm getting a Dvorsky, boys.
All that makes me think of is Radek Dvorak. Shout out to him back in the day. But when you look through this lineup, Robert Thomas, he's on fire and is actually, I believe, Ben, the most productive player in the NHL since the Four Nations break. He has 35 points in 23 games, which is actually 1 point ahead of Nikita Kucherov. He's currently riding a 9-game point streak where he has recorded 20 points And as I mentioned it earlier, I think he's an incredibly underrated player in the NHL. He's going to have a point per game season this year. He had one last year, and this will now be 3 out of the last 4 seasons. He made the All-Star team. I don't know if it was this year or the year before. I remember him being 3-on-3 with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. He, for me personally, is my player to watch in this game. He's had some big moments against the Oilers. Also is the one that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins back-checked on a breakaway, stick lifted, and then went back the other way. Coomzy, you got some sneaky good talent there for that St. Louis lineup, minus Dylan Holloway, who should be out there. But if you had to give me a player to watch tonight in that forward group, who would it be?
Yeah, I think if there was a player who could step up and make themselves noticeable with Holloway out here is Jimmy Snuggerud, who was their a hilarious name to say. It's Snuggerud. Just a bizarre name.
That is fun. That's just fun.
It is. It's an interesting one. 23rd overall pick in the 2022 NHL draft. He was really good for the States at the World Juniors. He scored 13 points in 2023, and then the year after that, 5 goals and 8 points for the USA. He, in his 3rd season this year for the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers, put up 51 points in 40 games, joined the St. Louis Blues after the Golden Gophers were knocked out, and has played 4 games thus far with 2 assists. Feels like the kind of player who has his first NHL goal coming around the corner.
Yep. No.
Maybe he'll score his first NHL goal. It'll be beautiful, and it'll get taken back, and he'll never score again.
That'd be awesome. Shout out Jeff Malott, I believe was his name.
That's right.
I believe it was Jeff, Mike Malott's younger brother. And then the other one I'd say keep your eye on, Jake Neighbors.
Yeah.
Played in the building aplenty. He's got a 20-goal season this year. Young. Lots of talent. We've seen him score against the Edmonton Oilers before. Keep your eyes peeled. And then once again, if you're in the building, reserve the right to boo the shit out of Philip Broberg if you so choose to do so. Once again, 8:22 puck drop. I don't know if I'd have the energy to boo by the 3rd period. No, that's a lie. You give me 3-4 Rogers Place beers. I'll boo anyone. I'll boo the usher. I will find a way. They do something to cross me. Let's go now to Bordzy's Bankroll, brought to you by Bet365, because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Breaking news coming in right now, where every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner. Every face-off, hat-trick, power play, shot on goal, penalty shot, and every suspenseful minute in between is amazing. They are an official partner of the NHL. Download the app. Use the code NATION to get in on the game. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. So pull it up for me here, Patrick. Once again, Connor McDavid looks like he's ready to go. I only did the last one because 97 I thought wouldn't be playing. But once again, I'm not seeing anything on Bet365 with Connor McDavid's name yet. So you got to ride with Janmark. You got to ride with Bordzy. So I initially was going with a Rico 1+ points at +135. I was expecting him to be playing top line minutes. No Nuge, no 97, no 29. I said they don't have any other legitimate centerman on their roster. Rico's going to be playing in every position. Well, it looks like 97 is going to be back, and I'm sure he's going to be in all those positions. But I already placed the bet. So once again, card laid is a card played. The second one, with Jake Wallman out, I do think Darnell Nurse he could be ripping the puck in this hockey game.
Lots of minutes.
3 shots on goal is +155. That is juicy, my boy. Shout out Darnell Nurse. He's been hitting them lately. And then there it is. Tonight's the night. This is the one. I know you just got to speak it into existence at this point. This is a game. It's going to happen in the 3rd period. Oilers are going to be up several goals. It's not going to matter at all, but it's going to cash it. If you played all 3 of these together, it is +7,000.
Generational
I would
wealth.
say do so responsibly. Yeah, you would have generational wealth.
Matthias Janmark scores a goal, and Bordzy will have generational wealth.
It's going to be incredible when he does it. I got intern Peyton here, who is Janmark's biggest fan. So we're going to ride with
Perhaps
this
his
one
only
together. Also, I don't know if we can bring Peyton's mic up, but he's been doing betting videos as well recently. Peyton, what do you got going on the betting front?
I have Evan Bouchard over 2.5 shots.
I like that.
Arvidsson over 2.5 shots.
I do like that.
And then now that McDavid's back in the lineup, I think this was going to hit. Zach Hyman anytime goal. That, like, at first I was like, but now that McDavid's back in the lineup.
Just put your stick on the ice kind of dealio for number 18 out there.
Yes.
How'd you do last time? 2 for 3?
2 for 3, and then I went 2 for 3, and tonight we're going 3 for 3.
We're going 3 for 3. That is not legally binding. That is not contract binding. Coomzy, you look at these 3 bets. Which one do you like the most, and why is it Matthias Janmark?
Of course, it's the Matthias Janmark goal.
He's wearing jeans underneath his equipment.
We got a report that he actually took off his jeans and that he's going to play like a normal NHL player tonight.
I'll give you insider trading. He took off the jeans.
He took off his jeans. Did somebody else put them on? We don't know. We'll find out.
Who knows? Patrick, which of these 3 bets do you think is the best option?
Well, I did decide to ride with you during the show. I put some on Janmark.
No way, really?
Sprinkled. So
let's go, dude. Let's go.
But I think overall,
It's so happening.
The best one here has got to be Nurse over 2.5 shots. I think personally, but I did put a couple first-time goal scorers out there, just little tiny bets. But we gotta have something to cheer for tonight.
Right,
So
it's a late one tonight. So wait, who do you got for first goal scorers?
Well, I've got Janmark, so I'll double down.
Dude, what are those odds?
man.
I'm sure I can find that in 1 second here.
Plus 16 or 6,500. So $1 wins me 66. So might as well. It was only $1. I also got Hyman, Corey Perry, and Kulak on the first goal. So
Brett Kulak.
Why not?
Let's go. Hopefully he's also jumping in front of some pucks in this hockey game, and I can continue to build my tattoo bet lead. Coomzy, final question I got for you. Give me a score prediction with an anytime goal scorer that isn't Matthias Janmark. That's Janmark sound.
Yeah, that's the Matthias Janmark.
Janmark.
That's the sound we're going to make when he finally scores a goal with 3 seconds left in the game.
It's going to be sick.
I'm going to go 3-2 Oilers, and Darnell Nurse scores a goal.
Peyton, what do you got? I put you on the spot.
I know, but like, can I be realistic?
No.
Okay, 5-3 Oilers.
Okay, now be realistic.
4-2 Blues. I'm being realistic. Man. Our team is we're so injured.
Wow.
I'm being realistic.
Pat, can you take Bet365 off for a second?
Yeah, I think so. Just give me 1 second.
Light him up.
On my fucking show.
You told me to be realistic.
I was lying.
I warned him.
I'm going to ride with Coomzy. I think 3-2 Oilers. And I mean, how can we not go McDavid? Just watch the video of him flying.
Did you see him jump out of the bench there?
He's coming. I don't think anyone else is skating as fast as he ran down the tunnel. So.
Look at this, Coomzy. Here, let me. Oh my God,
I'll try and pull
there's
it
so
in
many
quick.
tweets. Look at zoom.
Do they have it on fast forward, or is that?
I'm a short forward guy, but Mazda zoom right there, dude. He's woo. Let's ride. For me, I'm saying 4-2 for the Edmonton Oilers. It's gonna be an empty net goal in this one because it's gonna come down all the way to the wire. That's the one that Matthias Janmark buries. He'll be out there defending his net, and it's going to happen. And that will do it for us pre-gaming with Bordzy. Reminder. We'll be going late tonight. Oilers Nation After Dark. We're burning the midnight oil this evening. We got the greatest job in the world. Also, Coomzy, I put cold beers in the fridge.
Hell yeah.
Woo! We're going to have a good one. Be sure to tune in. Keep it locked on the Oilers Nation YouTube channel. Also, want to give shout out to Odd Company Nation Beer Everyday Lager, because if you're staying up for this one, you should probably crush a couple suds while you're doing this one. They're perfect for game day. They're perfect for every day of the week. Look at that can. They're beautiful. That's what I got in the fridge right now. There's also some in coolers. Dude, sometimes you just open up drawers in this building and you're just like, oh, there's 4 beers. Okay, there's 3 beers. It's the greatest place you could ever work. And then finally, one reminder, and I will remind you again on Oilers Nation After Dark. Tomorrow is the 20th birthday for Oodle Noodle. Clap it up for Oodle Noodle. And they got all kinds of awesome things going on as you see it right there on your screen. They've got the Platinum Parrot. Big flavor, big value, $20. 2 signature boxes plus 2 spring rolls for $20. That's an insanely good deal, one you can take advantage of tomorrow at Oodle Noodle. Also in all of their locations. You got to figure out what time they open at. One, yeah, you still over there? Yeah, yes. I'll figure out after Dark what time they open. The first 20
4:30 a.m. I think.
That's not accurate.
You get there 10 minutes earlier.
They're lining up at 4:30 a.m. because Oodle Noodle will be giving out T-shirts to the first 20 people at each and every store. Shout out to Oodle Noodle.
Most say 11 a.m. on Google, but one of them is 10 a.m. on the west side.
Wow.
So assume
You know what?
11.
Do your
Rise
own
and
research.
grind, west
Do
side.
your own research. Get out there bright and early. Take advantage of the platinum pairing. Shout out Oodle Noodle. 20 years young. All right. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Throw down your courtesy like on your way out. We'll talk hopefully about an Oilers W. Hopefully about a Matthias Janmark goal live on Oilers Nation After Dark right after the game. You gotta believe. Over and out. Love you all.